Well, good morning, everybody. Hello, Australia. I'm so evening or afternoon for you. I know that. I'm so happy to have you guys back today. And of course, our monthly meeting with our lovely Rachel Vaughan. And I know we are a few minutes late, but as is usual with us, we always end up nattering for like, I don't know how long behind the scenes. And before we know it, time has gone. Beautiful topic today about our pets and do they choose us, and also, I guess, how our pets are used in the system. So, looking forward to this, Madame. Welcome. So lovely to see you. How are you?
Oh, good. Thank you, Shanti. This is a great topic. Thanks for showcasing this one because it's I think everybody that has a spiritual aspect to them recognizes that animals are part of our guides. They're a guide. They're part of our guide system.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like there's not even a question. I mean, one of my cats, I mean, this is the fourth time in this life she's back with me now.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it.
You know, in fact, I think the fifth. It's the fifth. It's
Yeah.
the fifth.
It's
So,
amazing, isn't it?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, the recognition of that soul that keeps coming back. And I think as an animal communicator as well, what I've noticed with human beings is one of our greatest guilts that we carry is regarding our animals, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
way we could have treated them, should have treated them, how we should have done it differently. I mean, they are so vulnerable in our hands. I mean, we literally decide whether they live or die and how they live or die, right?
Yeah.
So, one of the greatest guilts as well is that we carry as humans. And I also know they don't want us to feel guilty. They are
Absolutely not.
they're such unconditional souls, you know, they don't have
Yeah.
the conditions that we have. But yeah, what a great topic. What a great topic. But I'd love to hear what you have to say about that because I know, I mean, sure, if I think about the survivor community and I know certain stuff that you've also spoken about, what they do to not just animals, but your pets,
Yeah.
right? The animals you've bonded with and learned to love and cherish. And wow. I mean, I think, and that's a special kind of hurt.
It is. It is. Yeah. Especially, with little children when they're being abused as small children, because your pets as a child are your friends. They're not lesser than, and they're often the same size
Absolutely.
as you. Your dog, your cat, whatever. When you're very small, is a companion. It's another sibling in a way. It's a hairy sibling. And
Absolutely.
so to lose them or to see them being abused, or it's incredibly distressing. Before I forget, I just want to mention. So, as a psychic, I read for a lot of people, and I cannot count the number of times that someone's cat or dog wants to come into the reading. And people often say, "Oh my God, my dog's scratching at the door, and what do I do?" And it's like, bring them in, because they want to come in and make sure that me as the reader, that I'm doing the right thing and saying the right things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And often the cat will get
Absolutely.
up and get in between and check you out. Really look in the camera and see what you like, and then they'll relax, and then they'll go and do their own thing. But they're guardians. They're very protective. It's very beautiful. But
It's
before I
so
forget, I wanted to
true.
mention the guilt thing, like you said. We often feel guilty about our animals, especially in the way that they pass. So a lot of people don't realize animals will leave to go away and die if they're old or if they're unwell. They will actually leave and go off and do it on their own terms quite often, especially if you're living out in the country and they're able to roam. And a lot of people feel so distraught about that. But with as a medium, because I communicate with animals as well as a medium, what has come through so many times is that the animals find it easier to pass through to the other side without people fussing over them, without being shoved in a veterinary clinic, doing it on their own terms. Not saying that, going to the vet's the wrong thing to do, but they choose to do that. It's not that they were feeling neglected or lonely or that they were so miserable and you weren't there for them. It's not like that at all. So I just want to mention that because a lot of people feel really guilty, as you said before, really get
Sure.
caught up.
That is so, so true what you said. And I think that is an invaluable nugget of gold that everyone should take back from this conversation. And one thing I know as well is that, especially if animals get run over, they choose that. That's their way of having a quick exit.
Yeah.
And it really is. And very often as well, I don't know if you find the same thing. Like if I found, like, when my Siamese cat, he got taken by a big lynx. And I mean, he was a
Wow.
big boy. Yeah. I
Wow.
was devastated. I cried like I've not cried before. I mean, I can't say for any animal, but wow, it was a different kind of. But at the same time, I saw how his spirit, his soul, merged with the soul of the lynx. And it's
Okay.
almost like he became part of that animal. And that was his soul's choice, because that was his next step. And it would have literally
Amazing.
happened 3 days after I got back from Thailand. He waited for me to get back from Thailand and to say hello, because, man, I was living in Thailand and he was with my partner who had passed away. So I came back and then I had him, and he was literally with me for 3 days. And
Oh,
on the
wow.
third day, he left. So even to understand that is very difficult.
Yeah.
But when we do understand these things on a more spiritual level, it makes it so much easier, because then we also understand the journey of the soul, right? How they choose to live their lives. And that is completely by their hand that they've left. And I think that is something that's so important that we need to know, right? As
Yeah.
humans as well.
Yeah. I mean, my opinion of wild animals is that they are incredibly tuned in. Clearly, they have to be
Mm,
to survive. And this is why birds will sing in the morning, because they're happy to be alive. They're happy to be waking up. They're not waking up freaking out because they might not be able to find enough food that day. So that cycle of life and death for wild animals is not as panic driven as humans. And a lot of souls choose not to come in as a human because it's so easily corrupted. We have money and all of these stupid constraints that animals don't have. Domesticated animals aren't quite as tuned in because they don't need to be in quite the same way, but they're still way more tuned in than we are. They know a lot
yeah.
about what's going on, and I don't think they fear death in the same way. They might fear injury, and they might fear being attacked by a bigger animal or whatever, but it's not the same. It's not the same fear-driven sort of life, and we can learn
Yeah.
so much from them. And again, I love speaking to you about this, and this is why I wanted to choose this topic today, because I know that you also know that your pets reincarnate and keep coming back to you. And
Oh,
it's not
yeah.
every single pet that you'll have, but there'll be, and I've come to the conclusion that it's possibly part of the higher self that comes in as a furry animal that is a guide that's present for you, so that you've got that. And then they keep coming back over and over again, and there'll be characteristics and personality traits, even if they come in a different kind of animal body, that you'll recognize. It's so
Absolutely.
cool.
And I mean, if we understand the concept, we are one, all of us. I mean, there is no separation. I mean, it's like the sun and the rays. That's the best analogy I've ever been able to use, is that God is the sun and we are the rays, and every ray is unique
It's
and
beautiful.
individual, which is your soul or your spirit, right? Which is your higher self that connects you back to the whole, which is everyone.
Oh,
So
I love that,
your
Shante. That's
experience
lovely.
there, yeah, your experience there will affect someone's experience there without even knowing. And that's how we all grow and heal and learn together. As we heal, others automatically do the same. And I agree, it's the same with animals. Absolutely the same with animals. I've definitely had, so how, a vision is such a stupid word. it doesn't match. But what I've seen is literally being a dolphin, living a simultaneous life as that, and at the same time, literally seeing my cat catch a mouse, knowing the mouse was me.
Oh wow.
And 5 minutes later, she comes in with the mouse. I was in meditation, actually. I was like,
Oh
wow, then she
wow.
walked in.
Wow, that's
Oh, it's
freaky,
so
isn't it?
crazy. I was like, wow. And understanding that for me was such an important insight to understand, because which is why it's so important to be good to everything that is alive, everything on earth. You might
Yeah.
not like it, you might not approve of it, but to destroy it is destroying yourself ultimately, right? Or parts of yourself. And I think that's why what you were saying, that, um, animals, I definitely believe, can be, are part of our higher self as well. That
Yeah.
keeps coming back, because who knows you better than your Ray, right? But
Yeah.
obviously you would have different segues of your being. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I know I'm saying stuff, and I hope everyone gets what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a support structure too, because
Mm,
for those who don't understand the higher self factor, there's only so much soul frequency that a body can handle. And so you leave
yes,
part of yourself on the other side, and that part
absolutely.
of
Yeah,
yourself works and does things on the other side that the soul needs to do
absolutely.
while you're having this experience. And I believe the part of your soul that's involved with the physical experience goes and melds back with the higher self in sleep time, and you
Absolutely.
recalibrate and get stuff done. So why wouldn't part of your higher self that can't fit in your physical body come back as some sort of animal, or come in at times and
Absolutely.
reincarnate and just keep coming back over and over again? I had a really cool experience, well, really bad experience. My ferret passed. She, for some reason, decided she was going to run away. Very uncharacteristic. She was terrified of going outside. So this is in April of 2024, I believe. And then I had this dream that she was going to come back. And then the next day there was a bird at my front door that sort of reiterated it. She came back as a quail. I then promptly stepped on the quail accidentally. The poor little thing. I was just cleaning the cage, and I don't know how it happened because I'm really careful. So that was horrible, and it was instantaneous. Then I got this download when I was at a cafe with some friends one day, not long, about 10 months ago. And it was like, got to get some cats. And I'd had the dream the night before, actually, that this cat that I'd had called Sunny Jim, great name for a cat, Sunny Jim, was coming back, right? So I'd had the dream, then I was at the cafe, I thought of the dream, and the download from Spirit was, you have got to look for cats today. And it was not just one, it was two. So I was sort of very distracted because I was supposed to be hanging out with my friends and having, a communication with my friends. So I did look around, and then when I got home, I found them immediately. Made a phone call within a very short period of time. I think it was 2 or 3 days. I had picked them up. One was the reincarnation of Sunny Jim, the male cat that I spoke of, and the other one was a cat with full heterochromia. So she's got one yellow
Wow.
eye and one blue eye. And I didn't realize until I picked them up that they were actually born on my birthday. So that was the download was, you have to do it because they'll go fast. And they were stunning. I mean, they're such beautiful kittens. So I got in super fast, and I was very, very lucky. And they're the babies that I have now. And it's just, it's just one of those lovely things when, you get all the right downloads, all the information comes in. This little female that had been the ferret, she came in the dream, told me she was going to come back as a cat. Then I had the dream that she was coming back as the quail in between times. Then the horrible experience of accidentally stepping on this quail, which was awful. Poor little thing. I love my animals, and that was horrifying. But then she came back again. So that's just one experience. I've had countless of these, and thank God I haven't stepped on any of the other animals that have come in between. So it's incredible because you often have the dreams, you'll have the intuition, you'll know that
Yes,
it's coming, and that's the sign to make sure you keep a lookout for them.
absolutely. Over the years as an animal communicator and teaching workshops, and listening and hearing some amazing stories from people and their experiences with animals. But one sticks out in particular as well. There was a friend of mine who was German, actually. And one night his cat literally woke him up in a dream. No, hang on, sorry. His cat passed away. And one night she woke him up in a dream because his curtain had caught fire.
Oh, wow.
So she woke him up on his face, like that's the way she usually did for food in a dream. And that woke him up. And that's how he stopped the fire.
Oh,
and
that's
literally,
amazing.
I think he said within 2 weeks or 2 months, something like that. The next thing, a tiny kitten with exactly the same markings. He said exactly 100%. Walked up his driveway and went meow. And he said, "Oh, you're back."
I love it.
I mean,
wow, it's
that has to
amazing.
be one of the coolest stories, right? It really,
Absolutely.
yeah. So again, it just again highlights how animals absolutely are our guides, our guardian angels, whatever you want to call them. They are there to protect you, and they are there to take care of you. And if you allow them, if you see them as an equal spirit, and again, I'm not talking about a human and an animal. I'm talking about a spirit, two spirits that have chosen, or two souls, because I actually wanted to say about the soul, whatever, the soul and the spirit, because the soul is what I believe is what carries memory of the body's experiences. So that is shaped by the lifetimes, right? The memories that we've lived, and also obviously in this current life. And when that vessel, so it's more like the vessel that contains where you're at. So if the vessel or the soul is wounded, it's going to shape itself in a certain way. The spirit would be that connection. You can never, ever obviously take 100% of your spirit in this body, as you say, but it's like the breath. It's the breath of God that flows into the vessel. And when the vessel is contorted and misshapen because of wounds and trauma and protection, you don't hear the whisper. So it's important that we allow, and animals allow that. They allow for the whisper to come through, if that makes sense. That's how animals heal, because they allow the trust, right, to open again. You allow your heart to open, to trust, to love. I mean, and also, Rach, I mean, I'm sure you would know how many people that are recovering from addictions and get a little dog or something like that.
Yeah.
That is so incredible, because
Isn't it?
suddenly, yes, they have that little animal to love and someone who fully depends on them. And don't get a cat, by the way. Well, you can get a cat, but cats are very snobbish, a lot of them. And they're not good if you're suffering from rejection issues.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, because a lot of the time when people have addiction issues, it's because of abandonment, and trauma. Yeah, 100%. You want someone that's going to be, or some creature that's going to be really into you.
Or a dog that's going to love all over you.
On behalf of the cats, I will say that cats often will know when you're sick, and they'll come and purr on you. And that frequency, just like bees buzzing. Yeah. I loved your top in your interview with Jerry Marzinski, by the way. It was absolutely gorgeous. So that connection, that they know when you're unwell, and dogs are known to be able to sniff out cancer and other illnesses, or be able to tell when someone's about to have an epileptic fit. So again, they have a huge gamut of different psychic abilities or different senses that we miss out on. We've got no idea about, because we've had it all bred out of us and freaked out of us, and institutionalized out of us, or medicated out of us. Because I mean, I still believe that a lot of people with ADHD and autism and schizophrenia are dealing with overwhelm of the senses,
Totally.
like too much information
Absolutely.
coming in. It's just, and
Absolutely.
how do you cope with that? And then you just get it diagnosed. It's an illness. It's something wrong with you. It's crazy. It's not fair. And it's completely wrong.
Everything, your body is designed to heal itself. Absolutely. The way that the world has been, I mean, we know we governed by Luciferians, right?
Yeah.
So immediately we have to understand a Luciferian is all about deception. So we govern by Luciferians. So they've deceived us into believing that we are a lot less than what we are.
Yeah.
And yes, our job is to align with truth, God Most High, if you want to call it that. And only through that will you absolutely elevate, if that's the word. You just move, you glide out of that deception. It's two completely different frequencies. But in order for us to do that, we have to discover where we've disconnected ourselves or where we've misaligned our patterns, where our DNA has been disconnected, right? That has made us believe that our body needs medicine and 10,000 dangerous chemicals I mean, what on earth are you talking about? Come on. Like, your body is designed to heal itself. Any medication you take is actually giving you more side effects and giving you more issues in other parts of your body. And especially I'm talking heavy medication, for example, right? So when we understand these things about ourselves, what happens is that your soul opens up. You move back into your original living architecture of who you are. And then automatically, when you are in that place, you're going to connect with other souls who are in that place too. And that would be animals, especially nature, or other human beings who've been able to understand how to move through those traps. Because it really is just patterning in which we've caged ourselves, right? And yes, diet and lifestyle, of course, are very important because, I always say we're like the four legs of the table: spirit, emotion, mental, physical. One leg is not balanced, you're going to be imbalanced all over. So spirit has to be 25% connected, emotion 25, mental 25, physical 25, and together they make up the balance of who you are. Right? So, and then we open up ears to animals and nature and the song of the earth. Earth has such a beautiful song. Wow. And we hear where we need to be and how we need to be in that place, or how we need to stand, or where we need to look to see what we need to. It's not even something that you rehearse. No book can teach you that, right? And then we're in tune with God's architecture. And then the animals come and then they talk. Then you're in the right place at the right time. But it takes inner work, right, to get there. It really takes that, and moving through the deception of who you thought you've been, because they can only deceive you as much as what you've deceived you. So when you move into truth, they can't touch you. That's what whoever it is. I don't care how many claws it has. I don't care how many jaws it has. I don't care how many teeth it has. I don't care how many wings it has. I don't care how many tails it has, how many heads it has. I don't care how ugly it is. It can't touch you.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. And a lot of the time that energetic protection is just the confidence that it can't touch you, or they can't touch you. And this is the beauty also of having a cat with full heterochromia. So for people who haven't heard me speaking about this before, heterochromia, different colored eyes, segmented or central, there are certain different aspects. In the Hindu religion, they believe that people with different coloured eyes, like full heterochromia, where you've got two different completely coloured eyes, can see God or can see angels or demons or fairies. And my little cat with full heterochromia literally sees them before I do, and she lets me know. So it's brilliant. It's brilliant. But cats in general can do that, and a lot of people aren't aware of that. And other animals have their merits too. I'm talking a lot about the cats because I've got cats. But they'll climb the walls if they have to and catch entities in their soul system and take that outside. And that's an amazing thing to watch, because you can see there's nothing there. If there's no insects, there's no laser pointer, there's nothing that they're chasing that you can see. They're probably doing some work for you. So if your cat's allowed outside, after they've done that, let them go outside, because they'll take that entity out.
Yes,
so
they're amazing.
Revered in so many different civilizations because they do work for us.
Yeah, they totally do. And their natural enemy, not just physically, but spiritually as well, would be a lot of their snake type, reptilian type, lizardy type entities. I know, I tell you, my cats, when this ley line that I on here, when that was still jagged and open and full of nonsense, the stuff that used to come out here, boy, my cats would go. They would just sort that out immediately.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Wow.
Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah. And cats will go and cats again, they'll actually go and find a negatively affecting ley line and sleep on it and purr in it. Yeah. Even no matter how uncomfortable it is, because they're helping to tune it up. And bees do it too. Bees are amazing. You put your hives on a negative ley because that's what they're attracted to anyway. And they help balance that frequency out. So, absolutely. So many creatures in the natural world know all of these things, but we're just catching up. And for those who don't realize that the Earth has a song, it's actually been coined as the Schumann resonance. So it's a 7.83 hertz. And when things are going a little bit haywire with people, when the Schumann resonance just goes off the charts, people can't often feel it, but they can't see it, but they know it because they can feel it. That something's going on, and they don't know why they feel agitated or anxious or whatever. And usually if you check back to the website and check out the Schumann resonance or websites, there's quite a few, you can see why. If you can't think of any other reason why you're feeling agitated, check it out. Because almost always that's the underlying cause.
Yeah, absolutely. But I also see that, as an opportunity to move through that, because the more quiet you become within your nervous system, again, it actually doesn't affect. And I just, someone is saying, do dogs do that too? I think dogs, the purr of a cat is very good for that sort of thing. The bee hum, the hum of the bee. I always say, put the live beehive sounds on. I've got a 3-hive live beehive sound that is on Solutions with Shanti. Guys, if you've got entities in your house, if you've got negativity that's bugging you, just put this on a speaker or your phone, whatever, and it's for 3 hours. It's going to agitate you because it feels like you're in a live beehive. And you're going to but you've got to learn how to, stay for 10 minutes first, if that's what works for you. But have it playing in an area that you feel might be haunted or whatever it might be. Just play the live beehive. I don't know, Morna, if maybe you can put the link up.
That's brilliant. What a great tool.
Oh, yeah. And if you've got DW, I'm working with survivors who've been affected by direct energy weapons.
Yeah.
Live beehive sounds, guys. Put it in your earpods. Have it playing when you go to sleep at night. You might feel agitated because your nervous system is not ready, or also irritated, because remember what they do is they're realigning the grids. The original grid is hexagonal shaped. Why do you think the Cabal uses the hexagon in the way that they do? They know it's the strongest geometry, right? But it's strong. And remember, they will take everything spiritual and turn it into matter, right? So think, if that's the strongest geometry in terms of matter, imagine what it is spiritually. They've taken everything and inverted it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what the beehives, as they literally, it brings up the original grid. Earth's original grid is hexagonal shaped all over in quadrillion different dimensions. So think
Oh,
about
love
that.
that.
And that's
I'm going
what the
to use
bees,
that.
yes, yes. And the bees come in and they will, and remember, I talk about also in my books, I talk about the flipped hive. When the dark nest, because then the bees, when they get stung and tampered with, they become hornets or killer bees, right?
Yeah.
And then the minute we bring the golden hive nest gets back to its original sacred geometry, so do the killer bees become honeybees again. Everything in life is transformation, right?
Mm,
We,
absolutely. Yeah.
nothing can ever be created or destroyed, only ever transferred or transformed. In other words, transmuted or transformed.
Yeah.
So now we transform it. And that's when we ourselves understand our cellular system is hexagonal shaped. So the bees will want everything that doesn't belong there out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let those sounds irritate the living Jesus out of you. Let it do it. Lie there. And if you really can't, yes, take a break, walk outside again. But have the sound playing in your house. If you go to work in the day, play the bees. If
Because
you
it's all we're all frequency, and it's the
Abs-
frequency. So there's a lot of healing centers that use beehives that you're supposed to go and sit in. If you've got cancer,
yeah,
you've got some sort of problem in your body, you go and sit
yeah,
next to the beehive and experience that. And you're
yeah,
so spot on, because if there's anything attached to you, that's going to cause you great irritation. So
absolutely,
help get rid of that as well.
absolutely. So the bees, and that's why, remember, the bees are the original frequency keepers.
Yeah.
So they keep the original, which is why there's such a great drive to destroy the bees and bring in
Yeah.
these disgusting killer bee things that are destroying the bees,
Yeah.
right?
I was
So
watching
just
something the other day, the attack on the African honeybee, that's obviously in most countries because it's such an effective pollinator. That attack that's going on,
yeah,
apparently the bumblebees, the big chunky bees that live underground, they are coming up in huge numbers. So the earth, that nature has a way of balancing things out. They might try and
absolutely.
attack the African bees, but the bumblebees in countries that have those are flourishing. So they can't get rid of everything.
Exactly. They'll try. And the
Yeah.
thing is, they try and do it with all this underlying electricity and power lines and all this electrical hum and
Yeah.
DW and all of that, just to keep our nervous systems always on the defense, always scanning for stuff. But when we realize this, when we, and I cannot stress enough.
Interesting. A lot of the time, I don't know if
Mm-mm. Carry on. What were you saying
Oh,
there?
you froze. So I don't know if you froze at your
Oh,
end. You
carry
froze
on.
at my end. Okay. Yeah. Well, a lot of the time when you see electrical stovey poles and the electrical wires, which drive me crazy because none of them need to be there. I've got free energy. It just drives me up the wall. And all the trees that get massacred so they don't interfere with the lines. That annoys the crap out of me. But they'll often be in ley lines. Like they put them directly in the most positively affecting ley lines. So you'll see ley lines along the streets, and you'll see that's the side that they put the electrical wiring in, trying to mess with it again and cause those beautiful natural meandering earth energy lines to be these straight, controlled ley lines. It's a bit of a bugbear of mine.
I mean, it's crazy. It's really, really, really crazy. And I think if we understand, we are in control, actually.
Yeah.
We
Oh
are.
yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
spiritual realization we come to. It's never about anyone else actually outside of yourself.
Yeah.
Because what religion has misled us into believing is that salvation is outside of you, that you
Yeah.
need someone or something. And yes, I think the scriptures of whatever denomination you are there to guide you, right, to a place of inner awareness. And it doesn't mean that, for example, in the days of Cleopatra, for example, if they called on, I mean, there was clear good against evil there. It was just in those days, they didn't know. That was the sign of the times. That was the way things were, that they called on the good gods, right, to work with them, and the good, entities to work with them, whatever it is. So what I find so many people are doing at this stage is they're saying, oh, well, that's evil because they were working with X, Y, and Z. I'm saying no, that was how it was then. Now we know salvation is within. And if you've been watching this channel, you will know salvation is within. That's what always comes from my mouth anyway. And if you've heard those words and you're still ignoring them, then I'm sorry for you. And everything around you is a mirror. It's a reflection of where you're at in your life. And that's why on Solutions at the moment, I'm doing the Mirror Universe series. I've done the protection patterning. If you haven't caught that yet, watch that. It is such important information for now, understanding how we as humans, spirituality is everything, but at the same time, it's nothing. Nothing in the sense that it's not tangible. So we have to make those beliefs, that knowledge, we've got to integrate it into our somatic nervous system. That's got to awaken, align with spirit, right? And then we live it, because that's when inspiration comes, not from something outside of yourself.
Yeah.
That's
No,
guidance. This is now, it's like I look at, I mean, Cleopatra wasn't some beauty the way Hollywood made her out to be. Not at all. She was a freaking strategist, boy. She was, yes, and at the time, she used her feminine wiles, but not the way Hollywood made her out to be. She used it when she needed it as a woman in a man's world. She loved to dress and do whatever, but boy, she was sharp and she knew what she had to do, right? But a lot of that stuff was externalized. Now we take that, and if you think of the war she fought then, all physical wars, right? Now, if we believe it's a spiritual war or an inner war, well, firstly, war is always going to create conflict. So it's not a war. Take the word spiritual warfare out of your vocabulary. This is about frequency alignment.
Yeah.
As long as you think you're fighting a spiritual war with something or someone, you're creating friction, and you're going to be in the binary of transmutation until you understand riding the rim, right? I'd always talk about riding the rim, where transformation happens, and then boom, that's when the inner code is unlocked, if that makes sense. So it's not a spiritual war, it's about frequency alignment, and animals know that. They are yet to show us that. How often don't they do that? I mean, and again, everything I'm saying just takes us back to aligning with our soul, our spirit, hearing the voice of the divine without hesitation or without doubt, because your cells know they will only process as much information as what you can hear at the time. It's not going to overload you. That's your fear. So you'll get everything in bite-sized chunks, and then suddenly you'll hear the voice of a bird. You'll hear the voice of a little cow, and suddenly you realize, have I been eating this my whole life? No, I won't do that anymore. Not because someone told me that veganism is the option and all of these things. It's a choice my heart comes to in its own place, in its own time. And that's the wisdom. And and that's what I say, that's what forgiveness is. That's what repentance is. We've got to repent from our fucking ignorance, because Our ignorance has taken us to the point that I don't know what sane person picks up a gun and a pack of dogs on a Saturday morning and goes to shoot birds. It's like,
Oh, I know. Yeah.
and calls themselves a Christian or any other religion for that matter. The ignorance, the disconnect there is so massive. And that's the kind of thing that keeps us trapped in lower, in hell, basically. I don't know what's your take on that. And this is not about, you can eat meat with integrity. I'm not saying you shouldn't eat meat. That's a subject for another day. But I think when we understand certain laws first, this is one of the biggest ones where, in my opinion, we as human beings fall hugely short, is our relationship with the animal kingdom. We think we have dominion over them. We think they're ours to eat and hunt and cull and conserve and whatever, but they're so not. That's, I think, we are one of our biggest mistakes are.
I've never understood the enjoying hunting thing. I've never got it. And for those who think, oh, those hunters are going out to get food, the birds are full of buckshot. It's pretty much inedible. And also many of the birds they can't find. I mean, the dogs don't find all the birds. So it's kind of pretty pointless, really, the whole activity. And I used to go get absolutely incensed at the idea of fox hunts as a child, watching programs where they were doing that sort of thing. I never understood that either. It's cruel on the horses, the dogs, and the foxes. And it's always these psychopathic, lords and ladies type thing. It's pretty horrific. I mean, if you're going to eat meat, the kindest thing to do is to source the animals from a farm that doesn't send them off to a feedlot and an abattoir.
Yeah.
An animal that's not transported around, that is killed on the land, away from its loved one, so they don't see it happening. Feedlots are so cruel because they listen to all of that stuff going on, waiting for the moment.
Absolutely.
And abattoirs and things are always in horrible, horrible portal spaces too. Abattoirs are always in the darkest of places, and they become darker and darker. So there are ways to do things that are not as cruel. And I love vegetarianism. I was vegetarian for 10 years. But I went back to eating meat because it just wasn't well. But you can do it in a kind way. It doesn't have to be this cruelty. It's certainly not a sport. I mean, for heaven's sake.
Absolutely. The thing is, animals don't mind being eaten. That's the thing. And there are certain animal groups, like the cattle, that have a contract with humans to be eaten. Things like kangaroos don't.
Yes, exactly.
So humans who eat kangaroos, you see, that's immediately a bad omen, because there's certain animals that are definitely not here for human and spiritually there's a contract. There are contracts in place for that. So,
and I love the way you call them cryptids, because they are cryptids, for God's sake. There's a lot of Australian animals that are cryptids. Just weird. Yeah.
Turtle. And it's like, also, how do you choose to, as you say, are you blindly just eating and buying from the supermarket, not having a single moment? Because I have researched slaughterhouses at length to see what happens to those animals before they get slaughtered. It is disgusting. You are dealing with a culmination of male psychopaths who, for fun and for domination, take the lives of defenseless animals in a terrified state. They're fucking disgusting. I can't stand it. I just think about that. And that's what you're putting on your food, on your plate, and you wonder why you're getting sick.
Yeah.
Have you even wondered? Because every hormone, every antibiotic, whatever they feed those animals in their little pens, this size where they're not allowed to move, from 0 to 3 months to make the meat so tender, right, is you consume their emotions, you consume whatever they've consumed. And then you do it without any awareness of that animal giving its life so that you can live. There's an honor in that. And most of us are so blind and tone deaf to what that is. I say to people, if you want to eat meat, sing to your meat, hum to your meat. When you're cooking it, hum, hum, hum. Thank the animal. When you,
Yeah.
as the chef of the house or the restaurant or whatever it is, you honor that animal carcass that arrives there, and you give it the best send off, and you thank it. And the same thing if you use animal products on your skin, you know, I mean, if you thank you for
Yeah.
whatever it is, the tallow, or I don't know, whatever people use, you know.
Yeah.
That's such an important thing, because that already, it's not about anything else other than your consciousness that's starting to awaken. You can't be completely besotted with your domestic animals and fight for the SPCA and Cat Protection Society when you are mindlessly eating veal and lamb
Oh,
and chicken and piglet, their babies. And you
yeah.
complain when the lizards eat our babies, but you eat theirs. Hello?
It's a complete disconnect, isn't it? I've never eaten veal, and I never will.
Oh, horrible.
I used to work in the vines with a vealer when I was doing grapevine pruning, and I was the vegetarian and he was the vealer, and he was always looking at me askance because I think he was worried I was going to go and stab him at some point. It's
Yeah.
really hard to deal with people like that because, yeah, we don't want to go too much into what happens with the little cows, but it's not fun. It is not fun.
No, it's terrible.
There's choices you can make and decisions that you make. I do eat meat, but I source it from a farm, and I've seen the animals, and they're happy and they live a good life. And the people don't want to take their lives, but that's part of that. They run a farm, so there's this dichotomy between these are like pets, but they've got to make the farm run.
I agree, and it's also how it's done. But lives I remember from past lives, and the way that it should be done is that if the animal wanted to offer its life to you, it came to you.
Yeah.
And you would touch it on a certain point on its head, which released the soul. So the body remained completely intact and completely willingly given, not slaughtering, hunting, terrorizing, consuming life force of another so that you can live or that you can elevate, and turn that into an excuse. I'm sorry, I see so much of that as an excuse, because I do believe human beings have become addicted to meat. We were never, and I don't care what people say, animals they were sent here to be our companions. We had the choice to eat them or not. So we've made eating animals a business on this planet. We've made it something that we have to do. I believe if you want to eat animal, then go and hunt it yourself, or let the man of the house go and do it. That's the way we should be eating animals. That's what I think. Not this mass slaughtering, breeding animals to kill them, and they end up in the bottom of a sewage system.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's clear that there's not enough cows on this planet to produce the burgers for things like McDonald's. So we know what's going on there. There's some Soylent Green happening there, and I guess it's all part of that process. Is that indoctrination that's what is necessary, and you have to do that, and you really don't. The problem that we have is, well, the manufactured foods. If you want to be a good vegetarian, you've got to eat pulses, you've got to eat good, really good soy, and you can't have genetically modified foods because it'll make you really unwell.
Vegetarianism is also, it's about how you combine your veggies, by the way, because combining certain veggies, for example, will give you a protein that the animal does. But we've learned how to leach off animal protein. But if we ate our vegetables properly and combined all the stuff properly, we would have the proper diet. And someone is saying, what if you don't have a man in the house? Then I would suggest what Rachel said, is that you actually go to the extent of finding a reputable
Yeah.
person who you know knows how to slaughter an animal and does it mercifully.
Yeah.
Not say, well, I don't have a man in the house, so I'm just going to buy that. You see, we keep that entire society alive, that entire market. We keep it alive by demanding that. It's supply and demand. So whatever we demanding, they're going to supply. Remember,
And the
we are
beautiful part is you don't end up having to go to the supermarket. Supermarkets have that horrible piped in music and the horrible lighting, and it's all designed to make you feel absolutely powerless because you're so dependent
absolutely
on the supermarket. This completely bogs them out of the
takes
way.
it away.
You get way
Takes
better
it
quality
away.
food. You're
Takes
having
it
an
away.
interaction with the people who are creating it. You get to know them, and you get a really good feeling for it because you're not buoying up Woolworths or any of the other huge companies that are just putting huge markups on these farmers' produce, whether it's vegetables or whatever, huge
Exactly.
markups, and taking and just raping these people, taking everything at such a low cost. Farming is absolutely under attack. That gives you the
Totally.
power back and gives the farmers the power back, and it gets rid of that middleman. Who needs the middleman?
Exactly. And I mean, if you just look at, talking about farming, what they've done with the seeds, all the seeds have become
Yeah,
GM. You can't, you can't even plant your seeds anymore from your
yeah,
veggies to grow more because that's what it's about, isn't it?
yeah.
That's how the earth actually supports us. Is that if you go and pick a pumpkin tomorrow, there's a whole lot of seeds in there so that you can have 10, 20 pumpkins next season and you can share with your neighbor. And that's why how earth supports us. And they've stripped us of that right to have normal vegetables with proper seeds so that
Mm.
earth can support us, right? In the way she should. We shouldn't have even need to be paying for food and water, actually.
No, it's that whole scarcity programming, isn't it? Because
Right.
you can grow it. I mean, this is the thing that gets me too. We're supposed to. What's the problem with human urea? Why are we so caught up in this loss of that? There's no urea to make fertilizers. What are we? We produce a lot of it. There must be some way of processing it so that it's not dangerous to put on your crops. But that all
Right.
goes out into the ocean and kills the ocean animals. So that all just doesn't make sense to me either. There's so much of this, suppose it's a scarcity when we've got loads of all these different things that we, could
That's
be
so
using.
true. I mean, we've been so bloody lied to. We've been
Yeah.
so lied to. And I think it's just so important that we realize that. I mean, everyone should plant their own garden, or even if you
Yes.
only have
Yes.
a place for a few pots in your kitchen window, plant a cherry tomato bush or a herb bush or something. Just do something, that is gonna create life.
Microgreens, little
Yes, exactly.
soybeans and stuff, and let them
Right, right.
germinate, and that's really good for your salads and things. It's really good for you.
Yes, it is. Actually, I must make microgreens again. I haven't made
Mm.
them for a while. I miss them. I miss them. And it's really, yeah. So just we can all do something. And if you and two or three of your friends start by just you growing that, you growing that, you growing that, let's have a competition. Who has the best crops? Even if we each grow two of something, and then we swap. It's fun. It is
Mm.
amazing. It is so incredible to actually watch your food grow and eat your own food. It is
Oh,
amazing.
yes, it is. It so is.
So,
I totally recommend it as well. I love my garden. Don't have a
mm,
huge garden, but what I have is veggie patch basically,
yeah.
and that it doesn't provide everything, but it provides a lot. And the other thing I do, I source my vegetables from another market garden,
Mm,
and a friend is so sweet. She organises to pick it all up, and then we've got an excuse to catch up every couple of weeks and have a coffee
exactly.
because she organises it for me, and this is like a co-op. So that sort of thing is growing hugely at the moment because people are so sick of the scarcity programs. We're going to shut down all the supermarkets. You're not going to have any food. is a terrifying prospect for a lot of people, and that fear porn's been getting around ever since COVID started, and probably
But
before.
by now we should all be having flowering veggie patches.
Exactly.
Right?
Veggie patches, sourcing your produce outside of the supermarkets. It's not
Exactly.
difficult. It's actually pretty
And
easy. And those farmers are overjoyed to have that.
Exactly. And I mean, I have my veggies delivered once a week. I don't eat the chicken, but my mom eats it. So I have a farmer in the area that delivers hormone-free chicken and
Wow.
goat's
Yeah.
milk. Goat's
Oh,
milk.
beautiful.
Yeah. So if you source around in your area and someone's saying most people are too lazy, including myself, that's the problem.
These are
I
honest.
agree with you. And it is funny, and it's very honest. I appreciate that honesty, but it's so true. But
Yeah.
this is exactly what has gotten us into the sluggish, swampish place that these guys have got the control over us that they have, is because we have become lazy. We have become wanting the quick fix. We have become, I mean, it's like there's a company in South Africa that cooks meals, and you know, they just deliver fresh weekly meals to your house every day, every once a week, whatever. I'm going, but don't you want to cook for yourself? You know,
Yeah.
sorry.
And what
I mean,
exactly is going into it? You just don't know.
exactly. I mean, it
Yeah.
looks very nice, and I appreciate that there are people doing that and wanting to keep it healthy. But the whole thing of cooking is the energy you're putting into what you're doing. A mom cooking for her children. I mean, even I'll cook for myself twice a week. I'll make a point of twice a week I'll cook, you know, for myself and for my mom. And then Bongi will cook and whatever, you know, we kind of take turns. But it's such a nice, amazing feeling knowing you've cooked this meal, you've hummed into your food, the food is happy, you are happy, you're feeding your family or yourself and your animals with love, because that's what food is. Food is such a beautiful experience. Yes, and I love having a glass of wine with the meal, with the friend, what have you. That to me, I'm a South African. We in a wine country. It's part of our culture. And that to me is really an amazing dinner, sitting down with a wholesome meal. I've made it myself. I've had my friends around, and I know I've done it well. And I know they all want to leave here with a doggy bag. That for me is a successful dinner party. I love that, you know, and I think food is such an important part. Food is our medicine. Food is your medicine. You don't need medicine if you have the right food and you're putting
Exactly.
in the right energy, you exercising your body to whatever you need to be doing it, going out into nature regularly, having fresh air. Even if you live in the city, you can take a walk around the block. You can pretend you're in the Kalahari Desert with me. Imagination is a beautiful thing. You can go to the park or take a drive on a Saturday, whatever, you know, whatever it is that you can do, do it. Because so many people are stuck in their rut and they're expecting others to make the change. And those times are over.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, things are changing very, very rapidly. The frequency is changing very rapidly. Whenever I talk about, you know, the overlords, I always say the powers that were, because they are pretty much done. I keep seeing all these people keep sending me this fear porn stuff about these, you know, supposed bureaucrats, and they've got their big bunkers. And I'm not seeing any kind of cataclysmic thing coming for humanity. What I feel that they're doing is that they realise that they're not going to be able to go down the street anymore. They've put their faces out there. They've said these crazy eugenic things, and they think that they can walk down the street, but they can't. And I think that's what they're doing. I think they're making sure they've got somewhere to hide. What makes me laugh is you just find the air vent. I mean, seriously. I mean, there's certain things that people need. Doesn't matter how far down underground they go, you find the vent. It can't be that hard. There's lots of psychics around who can find those things.
Yes, exactly. I just want to actually just share one animal story that is really, and as an animal communicator, I've just loved these stories, and I've been hearing the voices of animals since I was born, basically. So I love animals. Some of you might know that I used to be the mom of an ox called Henry. Well, how I got to meet Henry, so I'm going to just tell you the story. My friend had a plot, small holding in Namibia, and they had animals and cows, and they were, and she was cow crazy. All the cows were hers, and, so I went there on one of my trips, and I was walking around, and I was with her son, who at the time was 9. And we went to the cow pen, and there were the 3 female cows, beautiful white cows and what have you, with gorgeous names and what have you. And then I saw the boy standing at the back. I said, "Who's he? Doesn't have a name. Why not? He's going to the slaughterhouse."
Oh.
I looked at him, and before I even asked, he pulsed back to me, "Henry."
Oh.
I said, "His name's Henry." I said, "No, he's not going to the slaughterhouse." With that, and I mean, he was wild because I never gave him any attention really, right? And with that, he walked up to the fence and he kissed me through the fence. He touched my nose through the fence. Now, those of you on my Facebook, you'll know often, or not often, but every so often, I will post Henry. And anyway, so her son looked at me and I said, "His name is Henry." And he said, "Ask Henry what happens in heaven." I mean, I'd never been asked a question like that by a kid before. And I went, "Wow, what an amazing question."
Yeah.
And Henry immediately answered. He said, "We are just kind to each other. Not, oh, the streets are paved with gold, or we've got the celestial choir of angels, or everyone sitting around God's feet, or whatever. Just we are kind to each other." And that to me was amazing. That night, those cows were running around that pen, jumping, galloping like little spring hares. And I said to my friend, I said, "That's my cow. I'm buying him." No, he's not going to slaughterhouse. So it was the guy that owned the plot. It was actually his animal. So I said, "Okay, how much is he?" I said, "No." He gave me a steep price because he was a beautiful meat cow. Absolutely. Right. I mean, proper Namibian style. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we were offered money for him, right? Oh, wow. And they wanted to buy him for 3 times what I paid for him. I'm like, F off, leave my. And if you ever ask me again, I'm sending you to the slaughterhouse. Anyway, so in that moment, I mean, it was just beautiful. So Henry was mine, and every month I was paying cow support. Instead of child support.
He stayed there. He got to stay there. Oh, yes, that's so sweet, Shanti.
Yeah. So Yana and I actually bought him together. We were his mothers. And then every month I paid cow support because he wanted his sweet pods. Namibia had sweet pods, right? So they're like this tree, and he freaking loved sweet pods. Oh. So I would buy him his 2 bags of sweet pods every month. And that was the cow support. Anyway, and then in 2020, literally when Dominic, my partner, passed away on the 10th of January, Henry died.
Oh, he just
passed away. I was devastated, but he was living his best life, the only male, on a vegan farmer's farm, surrounded by female cows.
Wow.
I promised him he would not end up in the slaughterhouse, and he would not end up as sewage in the bottom of the sewage pit. When I bought him, that was my promise to him.
Was your partner close to him also?
No, Dominic didn't actually. He was in Namibia. I bought him in Namibia. So he lived in Namibia. Yeah, I often got videos and stuff, but he actually never met him physically.
Okay.
But
It's just uncanny, the timing, darling. Full on.
yes, I know. And then 3 weeks later, my cat Ramana, the Siamese cat I was telling you about, he was taken. And that
Oh,
was when lockdown began. I just came
oh
back from
wow.
3.5 years of Thailand. That was Dom died when I was in Thailand, 2 weeks before I came back. Henry died the night after him. And Ramana, my Siamese cat, died 3 weeks later.
Wow, that's a dark night of the soul, darling. That was obviously
Yeah.
all
Three
Australia. So
animals, three
wow.
weeks. And I had Ramana for 3 days before he decided to go. Yeah, no, it took me a while to process that. And then I started the channel while all of that was going on as well.
Yes, far
Anyway,
out.
but then, I mean, of course, Henry's always around. So with all this xenophobia happening in South Africa at the moment,
Yeah.
I've been working with some African people and helping them reestablish themselves in their home country.
Right.
And it was about three nights ago, in fact, exactly 3 nights ago before this conversation, suddenly, boom, 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 Henry comes in. Like huge Henry, like huge, like this huge, like the same day I saw him the first time when he said in heaven, we're just kind to each other, right? There he came in. And he is actually, his spirit is helping get this farming project in one of the African countries off the ground for
Oh
an
wow.
African guy whose his dream has been to farm, and he was kicked out of this country with everything taken away except his dream. And somehow he found me, I found him, and I'm helping him establish his dream. And it was just something that I knew. And I also knew when I went into why him, this dude, I knew he saved my life in a past life. I got that very
Oh
strong.
wow.
Yeah, he saved my life. I was white, he was black. He saved my life and he gave me a cow. And yeah, it was just amazing.
That
And
is
this is,
so cool.
yeah, that's how we found each other. Just, he messaged me. I knew that guy I've got to speak to, and I knew I need to help him. And it's just been, I now have 4 goats.
I love goats. I love goats. They're so intelligent. They're so clever. You got to be really careful where you put them because they can climb. They will get out of it. They'll open a gate. They'll use the latch. They can do all sorts of things.
She's
They're
going to
very
build him a
clever.
high rise. That's all. She's going to build him a
Yeah.
high rise. As long as
Yeah.
they can climb on a roof, they're happy.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
put your food on the top.
I love it. I love it. Are they milkers?
Hmm?
Are they milking goats?
They will be. Oh, it's just, yeah, it's still in the process of yeah, it's just happening. And it's amazing how it's just happening. And
Yeah.
I'm very, very grateful that, yeah, you know, that's how I get to invest my money. I don't buy gold and silver. To me,
Yeah.
I can't, like, so I like to invest in the living grid, in
I
people.
love that. I love that.
So yeah, but anyway, so I'm a goat farmer. No, I'm not
I
a
love
goat farmer.
it.
I'm investing my money in livestock in Africa.
And that's a beautiful
Amazing.
way to turn, like to invert the negativity of him being kicked out. You've turned it into a positive. So instead of being where you are and, you know, I don't know, toiling and working hard, he's actually back where in his element, doing what he needs to do. That's the way
Absolutely.
you transmute that negative
Yeah,
energy. That's beautiful.
exactly.
The last time I spoke,
Exactly.
you were really distressed.
Sure, I
So this
was.
is nice work, Shanti.
Yay,
Beautiful to
thank you.
see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important, I think, you know. I think human beings, wow. And you know, I don't know if you guys are watching my Africa series, South Africa from settlement to current crisis. If you haven't, watch it because it's super interesting. Actually, I've done a lot of research on, and also connected the dots on the underbelly and when the when they all came in here, and like the DEIC, and really the plan has always been to divide Africa. I mean,
Oh, of
and
course.
how they've starved Africans of education and made
Yeah.
African people seem stupid. And now suddenly after 94, they're injecting Disney education in here, all this stuff, this horrible stuff, like using this African connection because they've never been to, you know, the kids in Africa don't know what a iPad is or a cell phone or they have no idea.
Okay.
All of our Western kids, from when they're 2, they're disconnected already. The African kids, they don't have that.
Mhm. Yeah.
They are born with the earth, with nature, with their siblings, fighting like I did on the farm, fighting, pulling each other's hair, running away, like hiding, you know. You know what I'm saying? You never ever were allowed to lock yourself in your bedroom for 2 seconds. That was not even an option in my family, right? I mean, you were outside all the time. You were far, you know, you were playing, you were with the animals, you were playing tennis, you were riding your bicycle, I was playing with my friends, Xhosa, you know, I grew up with the Xhosa people. So my bestie was a Cindy. We were always getting up to nonsense together. That's what I'm saying. It's like, that's the life. We didn't have electricity. We had a generator that came on at night. So it's like, that's the life that people need, man.
Yeah.
You got to
It
get back to
is.
balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, he can't even
Yeah.
charge his cell phone. He's got to go into town once a day to charge his cell phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely. I think
It's like
we'll go
amazing.
back there. I've been shown many times, my guides have shown me that
Yes.
we go back to community. We're not obsessed with, screens anymore, but we get to keep our washing machine because I'm not doing hand washing. I'm a woman.
I agree.
I'm just going back to that.
Listen, I love modern technology with the help it gives. A washing machine, a tumble dryer, a stove, all of these
Yeah.
things. Listen, I absolutely agree that we have to, and we've created it, so let's use it. And
Yeah.
I agree, like, as I always say, technology and stuff for stuff like this, but do not let it take over your life.
Yeah.
You know, you
Exactly.
can't let it take over your life. You have to go out to nature. You have to go for walks. You have to go for a swim in the sea. You have to take a weekend away. You have to go for a run. And not in the gym on the treadmill. No,
Oh, that drives
no,
me crazy too. I don't get that
no.
either.
Like a hamster wheel. I'm like, that's the human version of a hamster wheel.
Not that I'm judging anybody, and
I
look,
agree, but
I've
people
complained about it.
can.
People have said to me, but what about women walking at night? That might be the only way that they can get their exercise. So I am not judging, but I do look at it and I think, yeah, but not everybody can go for a walk in the daytime. So.
Well, I think, you know, even if you can't go for a walk in nature and what have you, make a point of going there if you can once a week or something, or
Yeah.
walking around the block, going for a walk in the open. You know,
In
wherever
the
you
open,
are,
exactly. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you can get into the open. I
Where
hope,
you can
unless
have
you're in jail.
those interactions with the natural world. A bird can cross your path. A dog can come up and get a cuddle. You can see a
Yeah.
cat somewhere. You can see all of those things instead of being encapsulated all the time inside or in your car. You're not getting the same interaction. You're not touching grass, as they say now.
Yeah, absolutely. Animals are amazing. They really, really, really are. I bench weight at the gym, but yeah, no, look, I'm not saying don't go to the gym. I mean, if that's what rocks your boat, but like do
Yeah.
whatever you need to, but get balance. Don't make that the only way that you think you're going to be healthy is going to the gym. No, you need connection, roots.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you live in a bubble.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, this has been fabulous. What would you like to say as a wrap up for our guests and our viewers? I mean, you the guest.
So for those who have an animal who's reaching the end of their lifespan, don't despair. It's very likely that animal will come back in another form if you have the opportunity for it. And don't get too caught up in whether or not you can't have another dog or you can't have another cat. that animal will find a way. Quite often in readings, I will have the animal will come through, and so I'm a medium for animals as well, and they'll explain to me that they sent an emissary, like a bird, to come and tap on the window that particular day just before the reading to get the message across that they're still there. They're just not in their physical body anymore. So, and you can actually ask, you can say, look, if you're going to leave me, please come back. And they'll give you a cheeky smile, or they'll look at you a certain way, and you get that twinkle in the eye, and you know that they're going to do it. So don't despair. You know, our animals often, they come back over and over and over again. I've had the experience. Obviously you have. I know countless people, when I talk to them about this, they say, oh my God, I thought I was the only one who noticed. It's a very common thing, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Absolutely. And it's so true what you're saying. They will come back. They do, you know, and yeah, they also leave for the reasons they need to leave, and they leave in the way that they need to leave as well. You know, I'll never forget once, and the only time I've ever seen that, Dom and I were actually standing on our patio, and a guy driving past on the road, drove over a kitten, a little kitten.
Oh my gosh.
I was so upset. And of course we ran, and Dom took it, and it was dead by the time we got there. But I saw the biggest white spirit leave.
Oh, wow.
This little, he was huge.
Wow.
This little kitten, you know. And for me, it's like, yes, okay, I know you showed me that now. Not that I wanted to see it.
Yeah,
you know, I obviously I needed to see that. We buried him and blessed him, and you know, did whatever. But an animal, you know, people who say animals don't have souls, please.
Oh, that's rubbish.
Yeah, you can't even begin to.
Rubbish.
They might not bring the same ingredients down with them in their bodies as what we do, if you will. I want to look at it, say it like that, because right. But absolutely, I mean, they have their soul that links to ours, and that's how we can communicate with them, and that's how we get to hear their voices, is always through the heart. I always say, you know, animal communication happens when you love an animal so much that you just can't help but hear its voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it starts with the heart and obviously the mind. Thank you so much, beautiful Rachel. And I agree with you. If your animal has left, it's coming back. And someone was saying earlier on that they've been crying for 14 years for their dog. I promise you, your dog doesn't want that. I promise you, your dog does not want that.
No,
your dog would, more than anything, you probably keep your dog's happiness to a degree back, because you're always mourning for it, and it always feels you mourning. So release it.
Oh yes, and set it free so it can come back. It can't come back while you're grieving for it. So you set it free so it can come back. Just remember the good things.
Absolutely. Set it free like a bird. It'll fly back. You can't. Yeah. You've got it on a string. Okay. Take care, everybody. God bless you all. And I'll see you later with Jessie. And just be cool. Be kind. Be yogi. If this broke something open, if you recognized yourself in the testimony, if your body responded before your mind understood, the next step isn't more information. It's pattern work. Decode what your nervous system built to survive. Dismantle the story that keeps it running. Reorganize through the body and choose from the person you're becoming, not from the pattern that formed when you were too small to choose. That's Solutions. Link below. The body is the record. Let's listen.